All right, we will get started. Thanks everyone for joining us for another Storage Meetup. We do this every Friday. It's been a couple years now. Time flies. If you haven't seen before, about 30 minutes prior to this, we just do a hangout. So you're welcome to come 30 minutes prior to that. It's a great way just to kind of chit chat and get some other questions you want to try to make sure you get in. Gives you the opportunity.
We need to talk about ourselves.
Let me hit mute on somebody there. I'll mute everybody. There we go. All right. So yeah, this is a very free-flowing conversation. You can try to, speak up if you got questions or comments. Put it in chat as well. We'll make sure we always keep an eye on that for everybody. For today, at the top of the hour, I always like to start. We have about 10 minutes just to tee up some vendors that are in the industry. Give them a chance to kind of get the word out, showcase what they're doing. Today we got Warehouse Anywhere. So again, you got up to 10 minutes to kind of showcase, share your screen. We can answer questions after that for a little bit. So then we'll go after that. But if you don't mind, Warehouse Anywhere, whoever's up, I know you got a few members of the team on here, so I will let whoever wants to share the screen and get started to jump right ahead.
Thank you very much for having us today, Jim. I'm Laura Holmes. I'm the CEO of Warehouse Anywhere. If you haven't heard of us before, we were part of Life Storage. So I know that's a legacy name. I see some head shaking. We were a back office in Life Storage, actually, that helped send rentals to Life Storage. And these were really good rentals, right? Because they were business clients. So they behaved themselves on the property. We managed any of their escalations and they stayed for a very long time. It was a great revenue stream back when we were part of Life Storage. And when Life Storage was acquired in 2023 by Extra Space decided they didn't want Warehouse Anywhere. So we quickly spun off. We became our own company with 55 people and 3 divisions. And then my division was the storage management division when we were part of that larger organization. Last May, we were acquired by Argusy Private Equity. And so my division became the entire company that is now Warehouse Anywhere. And the other 2 divisions stayed behind. They're now WA Solutions. WA Solutions is actually a customer of Warehouse Anywhere now. And I feel like all that context is important to a lot of you on the call because we go way back. So with that, I'll dive in here. And
Probably should have had you double check to make sure the audio worked. Sharing screen works, but the audio is kind of not there.
Well, but it's like the happy you want to hear it again on the front page. But these are the type of tenants that you said are.
Laura, real quick, can you pause for a second?
Can you not hear me at all?
No, you can't. When you share your screen, double check and make sure the share sound is clicked on the when you share your screen. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear it.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay. Anyway, this video.
I mean, you can unshare it and then reshare it. Just make sure the share audio is checked.
Got it. Okay. Zoom changed their things again.
Yeah, they did. So double check that.
It's asking me for permissions.
Sorry, didn't know you had a video.
It's really good elevator music. We could just play it in our heads, everybody. It's like a silent disco.
Exactly.
I'm gonna cancel out of that because I have to figure everything. So anyway, we'll move on.
There you go.
Our mission is here, and our tagline is "Business Storage Made Easy." So what is that? We want to make storage easy for our customers. And we also want to make storage easy for our partners in our network. And I know that a lot of these businesses, they rely on having access to these units, consistent access. They also have turnover. So when they leave the organization and a new rep needs to get into that unit, they want to be able to do that easily. And I know with the way lease agreements are structured, if they're not done the right way up front, that can lead into all sorts of headaches for both the business owner and for the storage operator. So we eliminate those headaches for our customers and for our partners by making sure this is all done the right way to begin with. We also offer supplemental services. Right now, those are moves, white glove deliveries, where we have white glove deliveries on the properties, and the tenant will meet the driver there to get the goods in their units at the proper time. And we also offer trash removal on a scheduled basis. As you know, lots of deliveries on the property mean lots of cardboard, lots of pallets, and we help our customers get that out of their units and maintain their units and make them look clean, like in the video I was just trying to show you. What does this mean for you? So if you join our partner network, you will get entered into our database of partners. And if you agree to give us certain amenities that businesses look for, you will be elevated to the top when we go to look for properties that are within the radius of the target address that our customer is looking for. So you'll see here that you'll save on marketing spend, right? Because we're not charging you to join our network. What we're asking for is you make it easy for us and you make it easy for our customers when we need to get into these units, when we need to change units. If there's two 10 by 10s next to each other that the customer wants, and maybe they want a wall taken down, some of our partners agree to that. If our partners need to have a freight truck that drives on the property to deliver pallets, I know not every single location will accommodate that. But for the ones that do, we keep that in our system, and that's where we route specific customers that have those requirements. And I know as there's more storage operators shifting to SBI type models with light warehousing, those are the types of things that we're tracking in our database today so that we can send those types of customers to those locations versus traditional self-storage, which is a much better fit for like our pharma vertical, where it's reps storing marketing materials and climate controlled units, very clean, usually 5 by 5s, 5 by 10s. So our customers run the entire gamut. I see a question from Saul's Storage Group.
Yeah, I had a quick question. So are you, I have a, does it matter the size? Can it be like you said, it's warehouse anywhere. Can it be like for people that actually need like big warehouse space? I have a partner that I'm working with that just bought a big warehouse outside of Raleigh, and he's looking on how to try to figure out different ways to fill it up, right? He thinks it's a great location. It's a big empty shell, really high ceiling. So if he was able to enroll in your program, would you be able to attract like big users, not just somebody that would use like a smaller storage type space?
Yes, we would.
How big of a user do you think you would be attracting? I mean, are these people that need like 10,000 square feet or 50,000 square feet, or is it more closer to like, 500, 1,000, 1,500?
Right now, it's closer to 500 to 2,000 square feet. But again, we would entertain keeping that in our database. And if the need arose, your friend's property would show up as something that has much more than that.
Yeah, I will definitely get your information from, I think I can get it from this thing here. And I'll connect with you more, I guess, offline and let you continue. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, and definitely want to make sure you put all your contact information in the chat. So, you got a couple minutes left, so go ahead.
Okay. That raced by. I realize we're at 10:10 already, Jim. So
it flies, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. So anyway, these are the type of customers we're sending your way. Top tier rentals, climate controlled, average stay of 3 years. And these are the facilities that really get the top rating in our system. So when you join our network, we ask about the amenities you're able to offer. we get that you can't offer these amenities at every property, right? A lot of this is property specific. So we collect all that data in our system. And for your properties that meet our customers' needs, those surface to the top when we're looking to send rentals to our partner network. If you can get us in touch with your team that is going to be responsible for helping us with leasing, helping us with package acceptance, helping us with escalations. Obviously, if you're an owner, you probably don't want all those escalations going to you. So just nominating someone on your team to handle those that we can interact with. That again bumps up your rating in our system. And then if you can give us 24-hour access on your property, some of our customers need that. I'd say it's about 10% today. So again, it's not a deal breaker. But we track all these amenities, and the more you're able to offer us at each property, the more your ranking increases for when we're looking to source. This is how you get involved. So Andy's put our contact information in the chat. Feel free to reach out to us after this call, and we can set up an introductory meeting to discuss more specifics about your operation and about joining our network. It does look a little bit different for every partner. We try to be flexible and not make it a headache for you to join our network and for you to adapt to how our customers want to operate. So we are flexible. And here's how to connect with us. So if you want to snap this QR code, this should also get you to a form to fill out to join our partner network. But we're growing. We're growing from a marketing side. We actually have money being invested in marketing now for the first time that my division has seen this. So I do expect us to be sending a lot more business tenants to our partner network this year and in the following years. And as you're seeing here, they're great tenants to have.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you. That's always a good niche. The more business customers you can get, the better. I mean, we can all agree about that.
Jim, I can tell you that I worked with them back in the day when I was with Devin, and we had a couple of properties that were climate controlled, and back then they had a lot of drug reps, pharmaceutical reps, stuff like that, and we had long-term relationships, and I can tell you from an operator and the interaction, it was seamless. Never worried about payments, never worried about anything like that. They handled everything for us. So even like when they would change contacts on the lead, who was there, they handled all that for us. So I was, whenever I got the lead from them, I was excited because I knew it was going to be a good one.
Jim, you're hired.
Well, that's what I always say. Like the people that actually use it, that have had experience, that's your best salespeople right there. So
I think one of our stores had 10 or 12 units that were associated with Warehouse Anywhere at one point in time.
Really?
Yeah. But it was a store that we were in a market that we had climate, not a lot of people did. So in where we were, because they wanted the climate area, I mean, that was gold. So
yeah, I've had a couple and it was good experiences. It's, it's like a business professional dealing with another business professional, and they're quick to communicate back with you and get things done. And I'm like, it's like the best tenant. They just get things done. There's no pulling of teeth.
Yeah, B2B is always better, you guys.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's like
why we
working
love
with
the
you,
business
Shannon.
thing. Yes. Dude,
Yeah,
we
it's
can
like
have
you
a
just
real
know
life
things are going to
conversation.
get done.
Yes. They're always better. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you for taking the time and presenting on that. I know that 10 minutes, it flies by real quick.
It does go really quick. So I just want to add really quickly, one of the huge benefits as we're growing is that we are taking on people like myself who've been in the self-storage space for 20 plus years. I know a lot of you guys that are on here. So you're dealing with people in a similar space, understand the hardships, all those pain points that you're going through. So you're getting that personalized service. We're not asking you guys to do anything that I wouldn't have done. Everything is legal. It's compliant with state. And that always makes the process easier too, because then the efficiency is better. The back and forth is better. We come from a place of understanding, and you don't always get that.
No, that's perfect. No, thank you very much. And make sure your contact information's in the chat. And it might be going quickly, so you can put it up there a couple times so it doesn't get lost in the lost in chat there for you.
Thanks for having us today.
Yeah, of course.
Jim, there was another question about Lindsay Wright had a question about Boxwell. Lindsay, you want to hop on and say what you're looking for?
So we are getting ready to add a whole phase to our storage facility. And our owner is looking at Boxwell, and I just wanted to see if anyone out there has any experience with them, getting those set up, what their customers' response is to that. Just any insight you might be able to give to us.
Well, I can tell you, I added 30 of them at one of my properties in North Carolina 3 years ago now. They are different because the one thing I will advise is because they're a container type unit, it's going to have a higher step to get into it. So some of our customers did not like that fact. So make sure when you're showing it online, you just don't mix it in with your 10 by 10s. You kind of differentiate it a little bit so they know it's a different step up. We actually had one of our guys go around and kind of make a little, I don't know, like a step up for it almost, so you can get easier to get in and all that. So it was easier. And again, it was in North Carolina, so I didn't worry about snow or anything like that. So it was good. Can't speak enough of their team. They were fantastic when they came down. I mean, they got them set up. They got them where we wanted them. They built them. They're solid. I mean, I've taken some videos. They're solid pieces of equipment. They go up pretty easy. You do need to make sure that you have the area for them, the stage to build and work around before they put them where they belong. So if you got a small area you're working with, make sure you take that into consideration when you're having them delivered so you have room for them to work and assemble them. But I can tell you they added value for us. I mean, we did well with them.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got an original section that's classic storage, and we've got some climate controlled. We just had some extra lot space that we wanted to convert and add a little bit of extra space there. So we just wanted to kind of get some feedback. If you'd be willing to share some of those videos, I would appreciate that.
With my contacts in the chat there, connect me offline and I will go back. They're on my phone somewhere, but I'm sure I have them saved somewhere.
Okay.
For that. But yeah, it was a good process. The only thing I had to drop it, they arrived sooner than I thought because they come from overseas, so they're dealing with customs and shipping. So you got to be a little flexible on your, when you think they're going to be delivered, you got to be flexible in your window because they could arrive sooner than you think just because they got through customs faster.
I guess we're getting them from somebody here in the United States, even though, they are coming from overseas. I guess this particular vendor has them in stock. So it's not a matter of having to wait for that. So I think that window might be a little bit more precise, but yeah.
And their sizes are really unique because we had 8x10s and 8x20s that are not a true 10x10. So again, they're a little different size, but they were solid, clean, and we had them for, well, we still own the property, but no, they did well for us.
Fantastic. All right, I'll connect with you after the call then.
Anybody else have experience with them? Anthony, you had them, right?
I was gonna say we just installed, I think it was 60 units between same size. We went with the 8x10s and 8x20s because when you order the Boxwells like that, it's a cheaper cost than trying to go to the 10x10. They can fit more in the container because just like Jim said. I think just like reiterating what Jim said, the biggest thing is the site prep. Make sure that the site's ready to go because when they do arrive, whether you're doing it on gravel or concrete, tar, whatever it is, make sure that that is ready to go. Otherwise, there will be a delay. And I mean, we just got them in late November, so we've rented a few of them. But I always say one of the advantages to them is they're completely separate, at least in the compartmental wise, so that in the unfortunate case, if you would ever have any rodents or anything like that, it doesn't transfer over from one unit to the next because they're all individual. They're all individual. So we set them up just like that. We set them up, we split it up into 8x10s, and then we have some 8x20s as well.
Fantastic.
Worked out really well. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
How are you doing with rent up on the 8x20s, Anthony? Because I've heard from others that the 8x10s tend to rent up a lot faster.
Yeah, we still have quite a few of the 20s left. But of course, we were trying to push to get them a little bit earlier just due to lining up financing, lining up everything else. They didn't come until later in the season, which was unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to combat that now I'm in the Southeast, so these were installed in Winston-Salem, and we're crossing our fingers trying to put some promotions, different things on them to rent them up this spring.
Anthony, one thing you can do, especially with your call center people, this is something I've learned a long time ago. Nobody's going to call looking for an 8x20, but when they call in looking for that 10x20, and you say, "Hey, Anthony, you know what? My 10x20 is $199, but tell you what, if you can pack it right, I got an 8x20 that's only 181, whatever it is, and I got a really good deal on it." If you can get them convinced that they can use that size, because we all know 90% of our customers never use the full size unit anyway.
Yeah. And they never move out if they go into something that big either.
But if you can sell them, get your agents used to saying, "Hey, if you want that 10x20, I got a deal for you. I can help you out and I can save you some money in the process."
Yeah, our on-site manager there, he's really, really awesome. And one of the things that we do as a selling point is these are brand new units. You're the first one in it. And people are like, "Ooh, I get the brand new shiny, object." But they're clean, that way you can say they're clean, they're ready to go. So.
And what time is that when the officer arrived? 11:15. The alarm went off.
Oh, don't know who I'm listening to there. I got a question for the group here. I was talking to a guy earlier this week, and he couldn't make it to the group. He's like, "Make sure you ask this question on my behalf." So by proxy, I'm asking this question here, especially for the operators that do remote operations. Looking for best practices when it comes to holding the boots on the ground, the maintenance guys accountable. How you actually checking up on they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Kind of on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I would love to just hear some viewpoints from you guys.
Well, Jim, I've been doing this for the last couple of years when I was running the remote manager department over at OpenTech. I like a ticketing software, something that gives the actual maintenance guys an iPad or some way to check on the tickets while they're at the property, upload photos, make sure that there's an actual scheduled walkthroughs, site checks, things that need to happen on there, and upload the ticket, check things off, and then they can all be verified with photos from the remote management. So Sparebox puts a good one up. I really like theirs. I know OpenTech's working on a ticketing system of their own, but really anything that can have timestamps, archive, photos uploaded, and daily, weekly, monthly checklists. Also assigning it to individual people. So like this is a district manager level, a site manager level, a remote manager thing. Actually assigning it to people seems to work best.
Richard, did you use, you're talking about Sparebox, you're talking about Rafa, right? Our tool Rafa.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved about Rafa's product was the brand standard picture.
Absolutely.
That you can have your manager every time they're on property. Okay, like for me, mine was the drop box, the front gate, the landscaping out front, and depending on the property, we had two other ones. We had just picked 5, but every time they were on property, they had to take these 5 pictures for us.
And you gave them a photo of this is what it should look like? Is that what you're saying by brand standard?
Yeah, we told them what the picture was. So it was the drop box, the gate, whatever. Every time they're there, they had to snap that picture, and the picture was timestamped and in the document. And I know Notify is doing the same thing, but that really helped with the eyes on the property, because a lot of times as remote managers, we get back to the property 3 months later, it's like, "Oh my God, that grass," or "Oh, God, this." So I was always picking parts of the property that I wanted to make sure somebody had a set of eyes on, like the one in Ohio. I want this back corner of the lot because it was a wind tunnel and it just collected trash a lot. So every time that picture came in, we would know it. And they couldn't upload an old picture. They had to take a new picture because the picture was timestamped.
So working on the Rafa side worked really well with the standards. I also love the fact that they had to upload the walkthroughs and things onto the iPad themselves. So we had timestamps of exactly when X unit was looked at last, when X, Y, and Z was done. That was great. And me on the remote manager side, I never got to see the properties themselves, because they were all over the nation. So I was always just running the remote manager team. But I felt like we could really had a good idea of what was going on site with Rafa.
Right.
Jim, I
Mitchell-
have to ask to make sure that we all understood the question, because my perspective is always going to be people. Were you talking about a system like that, like Rafa, like Notify, like all the things? Or were you talking about the human element of how do you hold them accountable to uploading that photo? Like, it's great to say upload a photo, but now you have somebody who's not uploading their photos. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's both.
It's right on the tablet. So Rafa has it where you write on. And I know Mitchell, you had a question about seeing it, but Rafa's on a tablet. You're walking around with a tablet, and then you just take the pictures. So we know they're on a property. So and we get instantaneous reports from where they're coming from. And the nice thing about it, you go back and see history, previous photos, all these things, so you can spot that, check that.
Yeah.
But and again, to answer Mitchell's question, I think I know what who's ever assigned to that property can see it. I don't know on the open text side. Everyone's a little different. Like I know Notify's got something very, very similar. OpenTech had their one. There was somebody else that used to have QR codes that you had to scan on the property or timestamps. So there's different ways to do it. And thank God technology's there for us now.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that's said. We do something very similar. So we're starting to work with Notify, but we use AppFolio currently. But I think one piece that's missing is the additional accountability piece that we have layered in. So it's not just using a software. Like obviously we do use that we have them upload specific photos. We have brand standards. We ask for specific things every time that they visit, also to ensure that they're doing their job. But we also do random inspections virtually on like FaceTime Teams. We will call them when they're scheduled to be there, and we will audit them and ask them to show us different spots of the facility. But we also invested in a unique role that we call a site superintendent. So we have a dedicated employee that travels and audits all inspectors at our facility. Like, because we know that we have 1099 contracted employees that are our boots on the ground, and we also have W-2, depending on if it's a cluster of locations. And I think what I've learned over the years is that the investment up front of having a dedicated role to really go and travel and follow up to these people has been, I think, the biggest game changer that I've seen coming to All Purpose. Because that's her focus. Her focus is to find inconsistencies, maybe potential dishonesty, but also make sure that when someone steps on an all-purpose managed property, it looks the way that it needs to look all of the time.
And
so,
and that kind of leads me to the next question, like frequency of doing like the spot audits virtually versus actually being there on the site and walking the site. Is it monthly, quarterly?
Yeah.
Good question. Virtually, it's monthly, and then quarterly is the physical one.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And I mean, you guys have enough stores to generate enough revenue for that. I think a lot of the people on this call,
It's tough.
right? If they only have a person or two, that's why you're doing 1099 to begin with, right? So I
Correct.
do love that idea about the virtual part. And again, coming back to the human resources element of that, right? Like you're going to have people who don't do it properly, and having your own plan in place for this is what we expect and this is what's going to happen. When it's a 1099 employee, it's really easy to just be like, hey, sorry, that didn't work out, bud. Right?
Yeah.
I won't be needing you next Wednesday as per.
Another great thing is cameras. I mean, I remember times I would
Yes.
tap into our cameras and be like, I watched my maintenance guy pass by the sign that was knocked down and did nothing that week. So
Nothing.
sometimes just happen. And then I also love, I think it was 10 Federal that they are using drones at some sites. I'm like, that's kind of cool. If you have the money to invest in that, you just take your drone out for a flight and you go, why is that trash not picked up in the corner,
Yep.
Yeah.
Camille, I know you're right. Cameras, because I use night out cameras, and I have all 30 stores on my phone. I can just swap from store to store, so I know when somebody's going there.
Yep.
You can do that.
Yeah.
From the human resources perspective, my gut says catch it early and address it early. If you get somebody who is brand new with you and on their second time that they visit, you notice on the camera they walked past a sign, you absolutely have to address that immediately because A, they'll know you were watching and that you know, and B, you don't waste a whole bunch of time with somebody and then find out 8 months later, oh my gosh, they haven't done anything for 8 months because that's your store, right? That if they walk past a sign for 8 months, that's what everybody saw for the last 8 months. So absolutely use those cameras, but do address it early. Don't, I say talk early, talk often when it comes to people, because if you wait, it never gets better. Like no one who doesn't do the job properly is ever on their own without any coaching just going to go, you know what? I really probably should pick up that trash. I don't know why I haven't been, right?
Well, especially when they know it's coming and they're like, oh yeah, they come out quarterly and like we're due this month. So this month I'm really gonna do good. But like
Mhm.
for the other 2 months you're kind of slacking off. So
Yeah,
yeah, I've seen people be like, oh, that sign just it tipped over just yesterday. I didn't see it until I got here today. Well, look at the cameras and it's like, well,
right.
actually,
You're like, really? Because the weeds are grown up around it. So,
yeah, like so weird. I found on the camera a month ago it was like this too, and I actually have you on camera just walking by it 5 times. So
Do you
I have to
guys
say, I live in the same town as both my facilities, and my husband and I actually tend the facilities, but they're remote. I don't have an office on site. It's with less than 10 minutes away, but I have the cameras playing in my home office at all times, and it's a running joke. The contractors that have been on site every year for the last 6 years, because we've been continually expanding, they will say, you cannot get away with anything out here. You cannot even urinate in the corner anywhere because she will see you.
hey,
And there
first of
has
all,
been
you
there have
can't
been
urinate in the
times.
corner, people, in case anybody didn't already know.
No, no. And there's been times where I've been on site and I've seen the contractors who have been leaning on something and waiting for something to take place. And I'll take them over there and I'll show them, you have materials from the wrap that came off the materials that you're using to put up that building are blowing across the site. Go ahead and pick those up. And so they know. They're
You
out
got
there and
time
they're
to
taking
lean, you
care of
got
it.
time to
You
clean,
got time to
Melanie.
lean,
Get
you got
'em.
time to clean. That is right.
it's like with kids these days in the Ring doorbell. I love it because I'm like, when my kid is like a teenager and he wants to sneak out, he'll never get away with it. Like we got away with it because cameras weren't so big. And now,
Right.
just a
This is
new
why
age.
Gen X
Cameras are
rules.
amazing.
Camille,
Yeah.
remember I told you the other week, our parents' curses work on our children, so it all comes back to get you in the end. Because I
We'll
know
see.
my children are my father's curse. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yep. He won't be able to get away with it easily, though. It's going to be a lot harder.
I know.
and with the boots on the ground maintenance guys, whatever term you want to say, do you find the turnover is a little higher than a storage manager kind of a thing? I'm just kind of curious about the best ways to fill the pipeline for those kind of positions.
I mean, Jim, for me, I mean, I know some people do the 1099 route, and I can tell you we never did that. I had better success making them a part of the team, and they got, even though they only work 15 hours a week, they still got holiday pay, they still got bonus potential, they still got PTO time, because I felt I got a better quality. When we were hiring, we hired a lot of older guys, retired people, retired military. Two of my best ones ever were retired Air Force. They wanted something to do to get out of the house. They wanted 15 hours a week. It was perfect. I mean, and I know I probably paid more hours than I probably needed to, but I still would rather have boots on the ground and have people see that we're there randomly than just not ever being on site.
Isn't there a service out there? I forget what it's called, but I swear I've seen it before. That it's
Boots and
specifically
mortar. We talked about
it hires
Yeah.
the veterans.
boots and mortar. We just talked about this. Well, there is a company I met in Florida called Veterans Easy Trash Service. These guys are a national company that does junk removal and dumpsters, and they hire 55% or more of their people are veterans. So the new company I just met in Florida does trash removal, and they super nice guys. All three of them were veterans I met. And Jim, I have a soft spot for any veteran.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
but the other one we talked about earlier this week, Boots and Mortar. I think Jennifer, you might have used them when you were with your old company, um, Boots and Mortar, that does boots on the ground work for people that you don't want to hire somebody.
Yeah, we had really good success hiring former military and also college athletes because they know how it feels to be on a team and they know the mentality of teamwork and what it takes. And so those two types of people, if you see them on the resume, those are usually, good teammates and people that would, like being on a team and work hard.
That was before they started getting paid.
Exactly.
Yes, agreed. Definitely before.
Yeah, that's a
NIL.
little different now. I will say regarding turnover, we're getting less turnover with the remote employees because, I mean, if you think about it, we're super flexible. I'm like, if this is a second job for you and you need to come out, 6 to 9 every night, okay. Or if you want to work on Saturdays, they have so much flexibility that we can make it work for them. Whereas a man site, we need you to be there 9 to 5 every day. And when they just call out after call out after call out, that's not going to work.
Yep.
The only problem I will say we've had is in super remote areas. I mean, like getting any employee out there is hard, even like a part-time,
Just
booth.
finding somebody who lives in that
Yeah,
area,
we're just
right?
like God's the living, breathing body that can visit the property. Like anybody out here.
Have you
So,
called all your tenants?
actually, we've had I think there was one site we had a referral. It was like, hey, my son really could use this kind of gig, and I'm like, okay, have
me
him
his number.
apply. Yeah, exactly.
Camille, that's a great point though with the hours. That's one of the things that got me the people I had with the flexibility hours. I mean, I can tell you we had 24 stores remote. I had people working 7 to 10. I had people working 12 to 3. I had people working. I wasn't as happy with the 6 to 9 at night because I want them to be safe.
Right.
But this guy was like a 6'5", Air Force. Yeah, I was worried about him. He could take care of himself, but it was nice, and my team knew, and it was flexible that if you all of a sudden, hey, Jim, I can't be there tomorrow. I got a doctor's appointment. I'm going to be in later in the afternoon. As long as they communicated that with my staff in the offices, that we knew who was going to be where, I didn't care.
Well, I also will say, I mean, their job duties are not super hard. It's not like you have to also be really good at technology and be on a computer doing leases, or you have to be really great at customer service too, and maintenance. It's like your job is just being out in the property and doing physical property, and that's it. You don't have to be pulled 5 different directions, doing things you don't want to do. So yeah, we really haven't had like much turnover at all with the boots.
Perfect. No, thank you guys. That helps. It's one of those things you kind of do it your own way, but that's the whole point of this collective group. We're all kind of seeing how everyone else is doing it for best operations. So I appreciate that. I interrupted somebody. Someone was talking.
No.
Nope. Okay, we're good. No, and again, I don't want to hijack any of the topics, questions. Yeah, this is free flowing here.
Another topic came up the last 2 weeks for me is people who are using their own remote call center situation. I'm working with a client right now. They have one person that's over in Belize, I think, answering phones for them. And I've always been overseas, the accents and all those things. How many people are really outsourcing or trying to do stuff that's internally for their own stores that are shared? I mean, I know one guy who's got ring phones, and you call the store and like 9 managers get the phone call and the first one picks it up. And the problem I have with that is if you're not comfortable with that property you're talking about, how good are they actually going to be on the phone?
Well, Jim, what I always did with my remote manager team is, each remote manager would be assigned 5 to 6 primary properties that they were the manager for those particular properties. And then they would have a team of 5 to 6 people for their buddies or partners. So they would be familiar with the entire team. Once again, this is a pool of 20 to 25 sites that they could take calls for. But when they were on, they were primarily getting calls for their 5 to 6 sites. So
that's good. I think that's good in a way, but I'm worried about people who have, like somebody's got 50 or 60 stores or whatever, and they start answering for all the stores.
And they hire a single VA from the Philippines.
Yeah. And that was my point, Shannon. They can't, I mean, I know with you guys, with XPS and OpenTech and the other call centers, we give you as much data as we can. We give you plenty of pictures. We give you quality information about the facility. And that's always the question I have when people say, I hate my call centers. Well, do they have enough information about you?
Right.
And usually the answer is no.
I talk to people all the time, those two things are just not the same, Jim, because we are directly integrated into all of your software systems, and everything we do is going straight in there. Whereas I challenge when people say, "Oh, I'm just going to get a VA," and I'm like, "Well, how are they going to know which store it's for? Are they going to be spending the first 5 minutes of that conversation just trying to find a location and literally logging into your software to do it?" Because you got a tenant experience to think about, or worse, a potential tenant experience to think about for that. It's never been our preference, as you can imagine. I mean, I know why people do it. Dollars matter.
Yeah, we
But
had an experience, and I'm going to tout Shannon here over at XPS, but we had an experience with one of the other companies that was mentioned on this call already. Uh, and they couldn't pronounce some of the names of the streets that the stores were on. And this was in Florida, and it was just hard for the customer to understand, because they had no idea where the streets, how to pronounce the names of the local dialect or whatever it was. And we ended up actually switching over when I was with USA Storage, looking at XPS as a solution instead of the previous company because of that issue with the call center being so remote and out of touch with. And to Jim's point, we gave them all the information we thought they needed. It was just, they just couldn't pronounce, the street names. And it was just hard.
I would say always give more than you think you need to.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, I tell my team, always ask for more than you think you'll ever need. And we talk about getting even to the micro level, right? So it's not enough to say we're located at the corner of Broome and Long. We're in the Target shopping center.
Yeah.
Right. Like the words that matter to the team that's there. And we can never manufacture that information. I can Google map you all day long, but that's not, I don't know
Said that in a conversation we had, like, tell us landmarks. Like,
yeah,
tell
be
behind
clear. We're
the
just
banner.
behind the steeplechase,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But this is
Wilson, because how many people can't read a map these days? I mean, everybody uses their phone. So if you tell them roads, they have no idea what that means. Because they have no clue.
Did you just say east to me or west? Was that east or west? Target the Burger King. Yes, that makes sense.
But this is where people are trying to save money in a way that's costing them money.
Yeah.
One rental's worth what, $1,100, $1,200? Yeah, that's
more.
That's arguable,
more.
Maybe more, but they're afraid to spend $350 on a call center, and they operate their store in a way that's not a good customer experience. So there's other ways to save money.
Randy, just I want to throw this number out here for you, and I'm looking at your face. I want to see your face when I say it. I listened to a podcast yesterday from a company in our industry that they put their information out there on a podcast, and they shared that their average length of stay right now is 50 months. So the value of that rental is, I mean, that's huge. That is an expensive phone call. Every time that phone rings with somebody who might want to rent with you, that is a decision that is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So act accordingly, I guess I would say.
People are always tripping over dollars to pick up pennies, though.
Yeah, I am.
But I
had a
think it's the
conversation
place
with
where the smaller operator can maybe outpace the REITs with the customer experience and having that more of that local knowledge. I think there's an advantage there if you play your cards right as a medium to smaller operator, and you can outpace and outwork the REITs in your same market.
Absolutely, it's crazy.
Expand on that a little bit more, if you don't mind. I mean, again, we hear it all the time. Like, the big boys are coming into town where they weren't in the past. Now they're coming into my territory.
They have no flexibility, Jim.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
If you work for a REIT, at Public Storage, if you want to have a meeting with your property managers, they'll send you a script, and this is what you're allowed to talk about, and here's how long you're able to have the meeting, and here's what you have to cover. They don't have the ability to do anything outside of what the book says. And if you're an independent operator in a small market, you have the ability to do that, to work with your customers, to give them a better experience. And you have to do that because you have to differentiate yourself from this is a commodity. This is a 10 by 10 is a 10 by 10. no matter
I
what you
listened
tell
to
them.
a recording yesterday, and it was the Marcus and Millichap guy. I think his name is Jack Chang or John Chang, something like that.
He's so
But he was
smart.
like
I could
trying to
listen to
figure.
him all day, y'all.
Yeah, I was trying to. He was like, where kind of like the future of storage and what 2026 is going to have, and he was talking about how the small people or smaller operators are going to compete with the REITs, and it's flexibility, right? Exactly what Randy just said. It's being nimble, being able to pivot, being able to provide that extra layer of customer experience without having to call 5 different people or have a script or their willingness to think outside the box. And so I think that's where, everybody's going to AI and technology, but it's still not going to help somebody like physically move themselves into a unit. And so I think that there's still a place where you can merge those two worlds together and still provide a better customer experience by being a smaller operator and having that like touch, not physical touch, but just like emotional touch and talking or calling and just, being able to have a free conversation opposed to something that's scripted or written on a sheet of paper.
Randy, I'm going to piggyback on what you said about the REITs. You and I both know a lot of us in our industry. Wilson, yourself, Anthony. We all came up as managers. Heather McCombs. We're all managers. You get to REITs, and a lot of their district managers or their leadership in the field, they've never run a store. They don't know what it's like to run a store. They probably couldn't run a store. So by having leadership that's been in the trenches, knows what, Camille, you know what I'm talking about, understands that when you have a manager have a question that asks you, how do I do certain thing, you can sit there and do it with them, goes a long way. And to your point, Randy, we can pivot a lot faster on rates, on specials, on everything else. And I can tell you back in the day, I would walk into an orange door at like 10:05 just to see what they would do. And they would tell you, no, you got to come back tomorrow because I got to be out of here in 8 minutes. We don't do that. Goes a long way.
I like what you said about the specials. We were looking at a property up in Montana. It was competing directly with Extra Space, and they had these specials going. The market is practically just a college town. So you have these people moving in, maybe they're just doing the summer, they're just like they're not renting long term. And they've got specials where they're discounting their rates for 3 months, and it makes absolutely zero sense because most of your tenants are only staying in for 3 to 4 months and then they're out there. So you're basically giving them their unit for the amount of time they need for basically no rent. And it just made no sense. And Extra Space was doing that because they had no flexibility. That was just their model. That was whatever program they were using to do the revenue, and they hadn't looked at the market specifically and been like, oh, these specials might not work in this market. So really interesting to talk about the specials.
Nice. Someone mentioned about the webinar, I think it was yesterday from StoragePug, Tommy. So yeah, if you've noticed this, I'll share my screen real quick. But if you haven't seen this yet, I just wanted to make sure we took a minute and brought this up on the meetup today because it's pretty cool. Let me share my screen. If you go to, you saw StoragePug, they put a group together on Circle. So it's great. Storage Academy. So I think if you go to academy.storagepug.com, you can register. So brand new. They're just still getting things put together, but they have a lot of their past blogs and guides are on there. What you were just talking about a few minutes ago, I think that's here. Storage Academy Live. I don't know if that's recorded yet or not, but it'll be there. So it's I don't know.
It's their YouTube channel. The one from yesterday's on their YouTube channel. I don't know why it's not on here, but
I'm sure it will be. Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure it out. But no, it's want to give Tommy props.
Upcoming. I wonder if you change your little drop-down menu to where it says next to all in the middle of the page.
Oh.
There to the left. No, it says past. Oh well.
No, oh well. So it's still coming together. But anyway, it's just another platform for education community, which I'm all about. So yeah, go check this out, guys. It's pretty cool. I'll put the link in the chat as well. I'm sure that's what it is right there. Anyway, I saw that and haven't had a chance to really dive into it too much yet, but it looked promising, so I want to make sure it brought it to everyone's attention. I'll put that in chat there for you. Cool. We got 10 minutes. Time flies. Now's your chance. Any questions, comments? Anyone that's new? I would love to hear people that are new on here, if you don't mind giving a quick introduction. Put you on the spot.
Happy to introduce myself. So I wrote in the chat, but basically, we're a small family shop, and mom and pops, they managed to find a couple of properties around the time I was born. So I'm trying to figure out how to move us into the future, if you will. So everything's paperless and technology is changing so fast. So I'm finding in order to stay relevant, I have to make some changes.
How many units are you overseeing?
There's one storage facility, and it's 428.
Okay, if you're at 428 units,
that's a mid-size.
Knock off the paper stuff. Yeah, get on.
Yeah, that's why I posed the question. I mean, we're not using paper; it's just web self-storage. I feel like it's great for visibility. I just feel like we're not capturing the widest audience.
Well, your website. I love Eva's face right now on the website. Sorry, Eva. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all going to change.
Eva's face spoke 1,000 words, and she didn't have to say a word.
I didn't realize anyone was paying attention to me.
Even that face was out loud.
I purposely looked for you that time. So yeah.
Why did Eva? Do you have experience with what I was just talking about?
A little bit.
Okay. Love to talk.
Dawn, we've all been around the block several times. I mean, I don't know, between Jim, just between you and I, we got 50 plus years of storage experience. Randy's probably got more than us by himself. So
don't add us together. That makes us sound like dinosaurs.
34, Jim.
Huh?
When or if you ever decide to transition, hold on to yourself, because it is every day you're finding something new.
Camille's going through that right now from site link to storage. Their world's rocking right now with reports and so it's
Poor Kelly. I'm glad I'm not really involved in it. I just get updates.
And as it goes on, you find the quirks and different things in different settings that you're like, oh crap, I forgot to do that. And then a customer calls you out on it. And
that's why it's important.
It's exactly what's happening with us right now. It's like, oh, forgot to update this.
Yeah.
Well,
trust me, like
full reports.
Yeah. I had normally, so I oversee our portfolio, we have a smaller portfolio, but partly do I jump on the phones, but when an issue does go wrong, I'm not afraid, hey, here's the explanation. And the only thing I can say is if you ever try to learn a new software, we are learning what buttons, what check marks to click. And I apologize that didn't go through correctly. However, I've made sure that I've personally taken care of it, and going forward, we're good. So that was my morning.
Yeah, I did.
I will say from our perspective over here, ESS is holding you back a little bit. They don't play well with as many others as you would like.
He's not on ESS. He's on web self storage.
Oh, oh my gosh, that's even worse. Worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better than his tenant rate
card. As you can tell, we're
card.
very transparent on this call. That's
better. It's better than paper. It's better than
we all agree, though.
I appreciate candid feedback. No filters. Thank you.
Well, and guys, and the other thing I don't like about web self storage is U-Haul has all your data. That's one of my biggest complaints.
Yeah.
That they will.
Should I build a U-Haul facility in this town? Let me see how many U-Haul calls we get for that town.
But you do get rentals from them.
Yeah.
On next week's show and tell, U-Haul and web self-storage. Get ready.
I don't think they'll come. They don't play well with others.
Now, Randy, I can tell you, I just had a client that he had U-Haul trucks in his property, and he got rid of them and went and got on the mood trucks from Miss Miller. She's not on here. And Otis told me point blank that his quality of customers changed. His manager's focus changed. The receivables are lower than they've ever been, and they're actually following up on leads because they weren't worried about renting trucks.
Right, because they have time, and they weren't carrying tow bars around.
That's a great case study. Maybe he wants to come talk on here.
You know the customer, Shannon.
I can't wait to talk to him.
You know who it is. I sent him to you. You're on mute.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. You said it was Otis.
Yeah.
Love it. No, I think he should come talk on here and teach about that. It's a big deal.
You better block out 3 hours for him, because I spent 2 years with U-Haul, and that was plenty for me to decide it was not worth my time. Their business model did not match my business model. They are not customer focused.
Melanie, I will tell you, if you got a good area field manager for U-Haul, it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
You got a good AFM, you're gold. But I can also tell you that when we got rid of them, most of my negative reviews were all based on them.
Yeah, well, I guess you could probably pick from one of the 6 area field managers that I went through in the 2 years that I was with them. And the first one was wonderful, but then I had 6. And then, and that was just the time that I had AFMs. There were 8 months where I didn't have one. And the first one was fabulous, but he decided that he wanted his life back. And he was just covered. It was just too big of a coverage area. Sabotage, the cutting out of the commissions, the sad way that they treat their equipment, the time that I spent tracing back contracts that were not even mine, but someone that was from this town wanted me to look into something. I could talk all day, and that guy could probably as well.
Melanie, I turned in a guy who stole a U-Haul truck. I found it on one of my properties, and I called the guys and said, "Hey," he says, "I found your truck. Does that mean I get a reward?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, really?
So have you guys, has anybody done the U-Haul experience recently? Has anybody gone through it? It's the worst experience. I got sent to a gas station in a corner in a back alley that had like a key that was like set off to the side. And I was like, this could have gotten stolen. It could have gotten removed. So that experience in itself, I was like, if this was at a storage facility, I would have immediately associated it to the storage facility. I went after that. I have not rented at a U-Haul again. Now I go to Home Depot. They're faster.
Their 24/7 mobile app never works.
Never works. But
software never works.
Never works. And then if you're there after hours when there's not a manager or somebody to help them and something goes wrong, it's a whole nother. Yeah. So I
sure hope nobody on U-Haul's on here right now, because we're just.
Sorry.
I apologize.
I was very candid with U-Haul when I left, because I totally believe that they have every right to know why I'm leaving, so that they have every possibility of changing it if they choose to.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about them as a customer, as an experience.
Absolutely.
Just running the truck was a little sketch. It sounds even.
It absolutely is.
I live in a good part of town, and I was still looking over my shoulder.
They attract a client type. They attract a dealership type, and it becomes every man for himself on both ends of it.
All right, we got about a minute left here, so 2 things real quick, and then we're going to do our selfie. We didn't talk about AI at all this time. That's like a first in a year. But I did want to.
No, I said it earlier. I said it earlier that I used ChatGPT to post on LinkedIn.
All right, okay, you did. But it was like 30 seconds. Doesn't count. But anyway.
It was mostly about people. Yay.
I know, exactly. But if you are interested, I put it in chat. I have no affiliation with it. It's just a group that I'm a part of that I joined right after this call. It's kind of like what we're doing right now, but we just discuss AI. We don't do demos. We just talk kind of 10,000 foot level of, I'm sure today is going to be about all the layoffs that's been happening. We'll talk about that. So put it in chat if you want to join us on that, because all it is it's called AI Salon office hours. We get about, 30 of us that are on there generally, so you're more than welcome to join us if you are interested in that at all. Has nothing to do with storage, just AI stuff. So again, I appreciate everyone taking the time joining us here every Friday. It means a lot. If you got something out of it, invite someone for next week, and we'll keep it going and we'll keep growing. But let's gotta do our selfie. I need a thumbnail for YouTube, so on the count of 3, turn your cameras on. We'll smile here. All right, cameras on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, one more. Got enough people on. Ready? Mark, set, go. All right, perfect. All right, thanks everyone.
All right, guys.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see y'all.
Make sure next Friday to invite your favorite U-Haul guy.
That'd be hilarious.
He was fired.
I think you should invite them on for their 10 minutes.